Welcome to Soul Journey. See you again, Jacopo. Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Kamaljit. Thank you for hosting me again. So
Yeah,
happy
it
to
was.
continue our journey into the PHS.
Yes, it was a long podcast on human design, PHS, last time. So, what are we sharing here again today?
Today, we will continue from the last topic that I touched, that it was determination. So, the information regarding our way to digest food, our unique way to digest food, which is not only it regards what we eat, but how we eat, condition, and the external condition or internal that will allow our body to digest informations and food in the best way possible. And I think that is very important for mental health, because thanks to this information and respecting this information, we can experiment right away a better mental clarity and positive thinking.
Yes, mental well-being is very important. I think it is one of the main things that is concerning everyone across the globe. Every country has a situation related to this, and it's more like an epidemic.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's widespread all over the place right now, and I think that having such a precise information will benefit everybody. It's a set of informations that are really connected to the core of our being, and when we apply them, it's again having a user manual for our body, how to treat it well. And thanks to this practice and informations, we can reduce the need to go to a doctor, to go to a psychotherapist. When we go to the psychotherapist, we will have better mental clarity and a better point of view of our emotions, our thoughts. It's and just in general, it's incredible how the food can be healthy when
Yeah,
when it's eaten correctly.
I agree. It's mind blowing to learn from through human design how it has been revealed, and hopefully the scientists and the physicians are able to use it as well. All kinds of alternative medical practitioners, including the modern doctors and physicians. Because it's so important when I delve more into it, you want to study more about it because it exposes everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's precious informations,
Yeah.
but not again. They are not supposed to be applied blindly. They are supposed to be recognized, to be remembered. It's very important. This is a disclaimer, to have the correct birth time. It's very important. Otherwise, people will just falsely recognize themselves on any given information. It's very important to have the most precise birth time to access these informations.
So what all do we need for to create a human design chart and information for one
Well, first
person?
of all, we need our birthday and our precise to the minute
Okay.
birth time. And
Okay.
also the birthplace is quite important, because according to the position of the planets in your country, we will have a different set of information. But the most important is the birth time.
Okay.
There are some ways to try to pinpoint the closest possible birth time if somebody doesn't have this information. I developed a system, but the client must be as much honest as possible,
Yeah.
because the risk is to take this information as given true. But this is quite the opposite. The information that you get should reflect perfectly your way of being.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for anyone that is interested, please get the most precise birth time that you have. And if you don't have it, again, we can try, but it's a knowledge that is perfect for newborn, for children, for babies. It's a valuable information for parents that have a newborn and want to respect the newborn as much as possible in the best way possible. But again, not to apply those information, but just to recognize, thanks to these informations, how the kid will react to given stimuli, or what his or her preferred food, or in which occasion she prefer to eat, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
will benefit the child, right? With the food, what is
exactly.
intake, what time, and how is he taking, how.
Yes,
Yeah.
because what we do, I don't have kids, but what usually parents do is to apply what they know it's good for everybody to the child. Okay, go, like, for example, go to sleep very, very early because you're a child and you need to rest a lot, and the child cannot sleep, and maybe in the child we can understand why. Or also maybe the child that doesn't want to eat, prefers to eat only few meals or few dishes, and the parents, they force him to eat your veggies, eat whatever. Having this information, that doesn't mean that if a child wants to drink soda and eat junk food every day, is good for his health. Okay, I'm not saying that, but at least we can understand why the child behave in a very specific way.
Yeah. So, what about the variables you were talking about?
Let's jump right into the variables. We can have. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So how about right
Yeah,
now?
yeah, now I
Okay.
can see.
So let's start from the beginning, just very briefly. PHS, all the information that we can get out of the variables, determination, condition, environment. And so these are the variables. Again, these are information that talks about our cognitive potential and body potential. This is the brain and digestion, can be active or passive. Environment can be in a given environment. A person can be rather observed. Active, when is observed, is because the body is active and needs constant movement, and also repetitive task most of the times. And when it's observer, it's a kind of body that prefer to observe new places, and it's comfortable in new environments, so it can observe with the body. It's like the third eye. Then we have the perspective, which is the vision that can be focused or peripheral. Strategic or receptive can be the awareness or the mind. A strategic mind or a receptive mind. These are the possible configuration of all the 16 variable configuration. Up here we have a completely active strategic observed and focused cognitive potential. Down here we have a completely receptive individual. So with a passive brain, a receptive mind, a relaxed and observer body, and peripheral vision. And each of these configuration can mean something. And to me, I like to play with this configuration, giving them some kind of vehicle names. Like this one could be like a Ferrari. This one could be like more of a balloon. This one, which is mine, is a submarine. It's a kind of cognitive potential, a kind of variable set of variables that can go very deep. because it has got a passive brain but a strategic mind. So the passive brain is able to absorb as much information, as many information as possible, thanks to being like a kind of brain. But it can suffer from stress when the mind is trying to grasp all of these information and to file them as a file manager. But when I or whoever has my set of variables let his body to be active in repetitive task, thanks to this activeness, the brain can be relaxed and can absorb as much as possible. And also with this peripheral vision during this repetitive task that the body does, can see what the other cannot see because it's peripheral. So it's spread wide open vision. Doesn't focus on one detail, is more open. And then the strategic mind can focus on many different details and can file all of those information. So this is a submarine because I can see what people cannot see. I tend to get information very easily. I've got a very good memory, and this has been called by Rao Ruhu the inverse doubt variables. It's the reason why I call myself, I forgot the name, a general practitioner. I do many things as I presented myself. I'm a jazz musician, a psytrance producer. I'm a teacher. I work with many different subjects at school, even if I'm a music teacher. And I have many other interests. I could really not just, I don't want to sound silly, but I can really speak about anything.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
I want to clarify one
Yeah,
thing.
please.
The peripheral vision or knowledge is more intuitive. Can we say that? Just from my understanding.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know if I cannot. If we can call it intuitive, because it regards the vision intuitively, thanks to your specific set of gene keys or hexagrams. Call them whatever you like. You could process those information in a way or in another way. This information regards the way you get those information. How you process them, it's up to you. It's up to your uniqueness. But
Okay.
the way you take in information can be either active or passive, strategic or receptive. For in this case, focused or peripheral.
Okay.
And like this, if we look at this camera here, we have the same, like the same given example, but the focused mind is focused on the small detail, is focusing on the flower. Whether a peripheral vision is focusing, it's not focusing, is taking in every information. That's the difference. So for active brain, the active brain takes in only the information that it's interested on. Whether then the right, the passive brain, that it doesn't have any power onto the information that it takes. It takes all in. The difference is that the active brain can store information, can store the details of the information, and it can go back to those information when it's required. For the passive brain, it's a little bit different. You take in everything, but you need someone else to ask you those specific informations to come out, because it doesn't have this file managing capability as the active one. So for an active brain, it's required to study, to focus, and it will need to be focused on the details that doesn't remember. Whether for a passive and receptive brain, it's not required for you to focus, because to focus an active brain it puts it in stress. So it's just important to stay present and to just put your attention onto anything that is coming, that it's in front of you. And
Mhm.
thanks to that, you will not need to study if you have a passive brain. You see the difference?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if, for example, if you were like a student with a passive brain, a student with a passive brain, I would say just pay attention to the teacher explaining, and you will be free to study if you pay attention. Problem for an active brain is to pay attention. It needs to be focused on, and it only pays attention on specific particulars, on specific topics. It will, but then it can study, it can focus, and it will focus on the details that doesn't remember. Okay, it's two different ways.
Yeah.
For then we have the body. The body can be, again, as I explained it earlier, can be active. So it's an active and observed body that prefers the same environment, and when it's going to pass some time in a new environment can be a little bit stressing because it's required to have control on the environment, and it's required to to move freely, doing his thing. That can be anything, like playing a guitar, like doing knitting or whatever, or doing crosswords. It's the repetitive task or activity is up to the person. But the thing is that it needs this kind of control over the environment, whether for a relaxed body, a relaxed body, it's very okay with changing, with going to new places, with just sit down and let all the information around to be taken in. Then we have again vision, but we already discussed about it,
Mhm.
and mind. Mind is our active mind. So brain is unconscious. Mind is what we think we are and what we think we do. So our active thinking. When we have a strategic mind, is always is focusing on different tasks at the same time, and it's love system, methods, and linear paths. And whether the right receptive mind, it's fluid, associative, non-linear, and it's more like a sponge. Again, it can be distracted easily, and again, I can read here: learns well through images, stories, direct experience, may not care about isolated facts, but easily grasps themes, patterns, and big pictures. These
Yeah.
are not information regarding the right side of the brain and the right side on the, and the left side of the brain. It's like your right side of the brain, it's more like that. Your left side is more like this. We need to nurture both side of the brain. It's the most logical one and the most archetypal one. But this information can be applied onto them.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember there was this when we were growing up in high school. I think at that time there was a system, a learning system that was being sold, known as I think Memorex system, to remember, to encourage children how to retain rather than doing rote learning. That's what we used to have in the school, learning of the poems, learning of the stories, line by line. And I think this motivation, this style of learning through images and stories is something which is very crucial.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it adds to the memory, right? Because otherwise, for people like me, I only relate to stories and images. I remember through that. That's my way of moving forward as well. What happens and what's going to happen, it's framed.
yeah, one size doesn't fit all. So if you prefer to or you feel more comfortable on remember or on studying any given subject in your way, it's your way. It's you that have the knowledge and the intuition and the wisdom of your body, and nobody else can dictate on your style. Whatever style, learning style you develop, it's your way. These informations can help people to remember and to maybe also understand their uniqueness on taking in informations.
Yeah.
This is the purpose of all of this, to better understand our uniqueness.
Yeah, and would you recommend that once a person is aware of it, he develops on that, right? He can work with it, use it as a tool, and
Of course,
yeah,
I can use myself as an example, because when I discovered these variables settings that I have, I cried a lot actually, because it was like my body remembering the way I was supposed to operate in this world.
yeah,
Because the conditioning we all take is to act in a certain way. You need to be specialized. You need to become the best on what you do. You need to do one thing at a time, and all of these. But for me, it was like that. I was always like doing many things, like 10 different tasks in one day, and just alternating through all of them, all of the times. And also, when I was a little kid, I had my preferred food, and I preferred those foods, and I didn't know why, but I just love them. I just prefer to eat mozzarella and tomato salad, because I could alternate between one and another. Then I discovered that then my determination, my way of eating, is called exactly alternating, and it's based on eating one ingredient at a time.
that's quite interesting. That's
Yes.
very,
So
very interesting. Yeah,
I made peace with myself. I made peace with myself, because I stopped to pay attention to all of those voices that were coming from conditioning. Don't move when you practice saxophone. Don't move. Stay put. Then I discovered that I have an active body, so it's perfectly all right for my body to move. Or else you don't need to study, just pay attention. Or no, you had to study, you had to remember all this information. When I went to school, I was like just paying attention. This is fun. It's funny. I was playing video games at school because I borrowed the Nintendo DS of one of my colleagues, and I was keeping my mind busy, and my body, because I was moving fingers with the video game. And thanks to that, my brain could take in all of the lesson that was taught by the professor. And supposedly that's very bad. But for me, it was just the way I need to study. I need to put my mind onto something else to let my brain absorb. If not, my mind will just put my brain onto stress.
yeah, yeah. Likewise, many children to doodle, or the teacher is giving a lecture, or they are paying
Exactly.
attention, but they are doodling on their book
Absolutely.
because
And it's very frustrating to try to convince my teacher colleagues that it's perfectly all right for a child to have a ball or to have some toys to play with, or it could be okay for them to stand up and to move.
Mhm.
But public education is very strict.
Yeah.
Public education thinks that one size fits all. Everybody should be at their places, not moving and paying attention and understand. They want the moon. They want the moon because it's nuts to think that a child could stay put. Every child, at least. Some they can just stay there and not move, taking information, but some other students, they cannot stay put. They need to move. And some other, they need to be focused on some little details. So when a certain detail doesn't come up, they will not pay attention to you. And to me, it's perfectly okay because they could study at least. So, in a perfect world school, I would use variables to divide, not all, not like to have a big, very like wide and big class, but when I have to make some tasks, I will just divide them. So let's take all of the receptive brain and mind, and so they can they can listen to what I'm saying, and they will not need to study. Then let's take all the active brain and bodies and let's go study while they move around, and I will give them some tests so they can be focused on something. I could have so much fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So at least for a parent could stop worrying if a child like prefers a certain attitude or has got a certain attitude toward studying or moving, and or eating. So I would just jump on the determination part. So
Yeah.
determination, it's being calculated through the variables. There is a very precise calculation. I don't want to go there because thankfully we have programs that can do this thing. So determination, I will just read the human design diets. Human design determination is your correct way of taking in food and information. It is shown by the top left arrow, body brain. When you follow your determination, digestion, energy, and mental clarity tend to improve. These are 6 primary determination diets, each with a left active or right receptive style. Let's repeat. If someone has a left active brain, it's required he is required to have some kind of scheduled meal. Okay, so eating every day at the same hour, every meal at the same hour. So and naming those meals like breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever, supper again, midnight snack, whatever. It's not that they need to eat a lot, but they need to eat more frequently, and also to take in fluid more frequently because they have a low water retention, so they will go to the bathroom many times. And then the other one, the right receptive style, doesn't need to name the meals, and it's free to eat whenever they feel like. If they feel to skip breakfast or to skip lunch, is perfectly okay. They could have 0 meals to 10 meals. It's always different. Okay, we can have 2 different approaches with 6 different, like different way of style of eating. Let's start with the first one, the consecutive alternating. Best with simple food. Fewer ingredients at the time, one thing after another, not all at once. So this is like the caveman digestion system. I eat what I can hunt.
Mm.
So here I put an apple, but every ingredient, it's fine. As long as it's single. So for a consecutive eater, it's better to finish one ingredient and then pass to another one. For example, if we have fish, potatoes, and salad, a person might decide where to start, but when he decided the first ingredient, he will need to finish it all before passing to the other one. Rather, for the alternating one, a person can alternate different ingredients, from a bite from one and then taking another bite. But what is important for both styles, it's to not put two ingredients at the same time in the mouth. I know it sounds a little bit hardcore.
I
I
know.
know.
Like, what about the cooked meals? There is lunch and there are the cooked meals as well. So that the consecutive one cannot eat a cooked meal. Would he have
I
to
mean,
stay on?
I'm not talking about cooking it, but the thing is that the meals shouldn't have so much preparation,
Okay.
shouldn't have so much ingredients. The best way, the very best, is to eat it as it is. As it is. If you want salt, you put a little bit of salt in your mouth and then you eat.
That's
Yeah,
really
that's
interesting.
nuts.
Yeah,
That's nuts. I know. I know. But I have alternating diet
yeah.
and I can feel the difference
Wow.
so much, so much. And it sounds very bad until we understand that we can actually eat whenever we feel like. Later on, we will see that some other diets they need to be aware of some conditions, but the consecutive and alternating style, it's connected to the appetite. So it can eat whenever it feels like, whenever, and with whatever condition. If it's cold outside, if it's hot outside, if you are angry, if you are calm, if the food is hot, there's a lot of noise, if it's very pitch dark night, or if it's very early in the morning, you can eat whenever you feel like. Whenever you feel like. And you know what? You will save so much money when you go to the supermarket. You cannot understand. In these wicked times, even to find good ingredients is most of the times more expensive than to have processed food. But in a perfect world, you will have eggs, salad, fish, meat, fruit, white rice, white pasta, piece of bread, and then you're okay. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Let me add this one. I'm Italian, so you can you cannot say in Italian to not eat pasta or to not eat pizza. So of course I eat also let's call processed food or cooked food sometimes, but at least I know, at least I'm aware that when I'm going to eat out of my diet style, I know that I will have some interference in my brain and in my mind. At least I know. At least I know that I'm like soft poisoning myself a little bit. At least I know. At
Yeah.
least I'm aware. And then if I eat correctly, most of the times, if someday I want to eat a full pizza or a fried chicken, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But at least I know that my thinking will be a little bit more foggy or less positive. At least I know. It's tricky because it's unconscious, it's the body. But when I eat now, when I'm aware that I'm going to eat something that it's not correct for me, I know that can be a little bit, it can cause some problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very empowering. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Then we have open taste, closed taste. I remember that you have open taste, Kamaljit.
Yeah.
Very specific and very selective taste. Needs recognizable, trusted flavors and quality. So this is the seasonal eater. So it's the person that should eat seasonal food, 0 kilometers food, as we call it in Italy. So the food that is specific of your area of where you live. Again, in this diet, processed food, it's not okay. But you can cook your food. You can cook. You have open, so active brain, it's open taste. So it's again, it's when we have active left, it means control. So it's good for you to cook your own meal, for example. And it's called open because with the passing of time, you can try to add some different dishes to your diets if you want, but it's perfectly okay for your body to eat always the same stuff, especially for the closed taste. The closed taste, it's closed. It will prefer to eat always the same stuff. The food that he knows they are okay with him.
Yeah.
Even if it's just, I don't know, like tomato pasta, tomato sauce pasta. If it's good for the body, it's good for the mind, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
This can be again tricky because if you go to the restaurant and they don't have your preferred food, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's a very
It's
important thing for me too. When I go out, there's very limited food that I can eat. I get a sense of it that this is not what I want to have. There was a time when I could explore. I remember a long time, I'd say about 15 years ago, I could still venture out and explore new tastes, new dishes or tastes. But now it's a big no.
yeah.
If I
This
don't
is
like a look of it or something about it, I don't take it.
the gatherer style of eating. So the gatherer that would, after the caveman, that would like wait for the ingredients that nature will give to him, respecting the seasons, and eat the trusted ingredients, the one that he knows that wouldn't poison him or her. Let's move on. Then we have hot thirst or cold thirst. This is very, I love this topic because it's so precise. It's so precise. So here we have a digestion that is supported by temperature, hot or cold, especially in drinks and overall climate. So hot thirst needs hot food and hot beverages to keep his cold body in a good temperature. So these are the people that needs to check their internal temperature all the time. So if you have hot thirst, a person with hot thirst will have a low body temperature, and it needs to keep it as higher as possible. But when it's high enough, it's fine. They could eat also an ice cream or they could drink a beer, a cold beer, but only when the temperature is in check, is okay. Whether with cold thirst is quite the opposite. So it's a very hot temperature body that needs to kept in check with cold beverages and cold food, like a salad or maybe just by waiting before you eat a very hot plate. And it's very easy. It's very easy when you know. Very easy when you know that it's okay for you to have a hot tea during a meal if you have hot thirst. And it's okay. It's very important. I know in the USA, I don't know in Canada, ice machine are quite a thing, but ice machine, it's the best friend of a cold thirst determination. So if a person have a cold thirst, they would just need to have their iced water or iced drink with them in order to have a hot dish.
Mm.
Very easy.
Yeah.
And also the temperature outside is important. And for hot, it requires a warm place to eat. And to also all of these determination, they apply to the information intake also. So a hot thirst person would require a warm place to study well and to interact with people well. A cold, they would need like a cool place to eat or to interact or to study. When they don't have, they can use the power of a cup of tea or an iced drink, and it's settled. Let's move on. Then we have calm and nervous. So then here we are moving to the people that needs uh, some kind of conditions to be respected. Before, it was the food or the drinks that needs to be in a certain way. Now we have some condition, internal or external, that needs to be respected. So for a calm, nervous, it's very easy. You can A calm determination person could eat literally whatever, only when he's calm. At the opposite, a nervous person might need to be in a crowded place or eating while he does different tasks, or when it's surrounded by friends that make noises. So they could eat whatever, because I think, I'm not sure, of course, I'm not a scientist, not a dietitian, but I think that all of those determinations, they like unlock the, I don't find the word, enzymes that are specified for the digestion. They will produce those enzymes in specific situations.
So I have a question here,
Please.
for the children who are or people who are hyperactive. You will always notice them that whether they are sitting, reading something, sometimes they might be calm, but generally eating or doing anything, you will find them shaking their legs and they cannot stand still. They are just all the time in action and doing what they need to do. Like even eating food, they're just moving their legs.
I
So
don't
is that
see I don't
something?
see I don't see that as a problem.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a problem. I can understand that it can be a problematic for a parent. I can understand that. Please stay still. Please don't move. Please give me 5 minutes. I
Yes, it will be
understand,
very.
but I don't see in a small child, I don't see anything wrong with it. It can mean many different things. It can mean many different things. Okay. Many. It can mean having an active body or having a nervous determination, or maybe having the gene keys shadow 52 and 58 that are stress, and I don't remember the 58 stress, moving all the times and trying to cope with being like still. It can mean many things. But for a small child that has like, let's take an example. Maybe we have a small child, a newborn that's got nervous. To keep him like steady and put, it's not good for his health. To force him to eat when he's calm, it's not good for him, and he probably will not eat. It's just like that. Or again, for a calm person, I remember when I spoke once with Carmen, and Carmen's got nervous, and she told me, when I'm alone, I'm very calm, and I don't feel to eat. I am not hungry. I don't want to eat. But when I'm surrounded by other people and the situation is arising a little bit, suddenly I feel the hunger. I get hungry. I feel appetite. So that's a perfect example of having nervous. A child with nervous might need to eat when they are moving, or when they are like playing with other children, or they cannot stay put, they cannot sit when they eat. Whether a calm child, they are not supposed to eat when they are, I don't know, at the amusement park, for example. He will not eat an ice cream or a hot dog in an amusement park, at Disney World, for example, because everything is moving, like he's super excited and he's not feeling hunger. It's awareness. It doesn't mean that you cannot eat. It means that if you eat not respecting this determination, you will probably have some issues here or there.
Yeah, this is very interesting. And the more you talk about it, the more I feel it's so important for each one of us to be aware of these traits within us, to
Yeah,
be more connected to ourselves.
exactly. Exactly. This is about remembering. As I said, the last thing I said at the last interview, it was remember when you were a child, when you were very small. Remember what gave you happiness, what gave you fulfillment. Remember, because those things, they will not change. I'm talking about the small things. What you like to eat, what is your preferred place to go, what do you like to do in your spare time, all of those things. Let's move on.
Yeah,
High, low. So the condition here is the external volume. So
yeah,
when we have high, we will need like a crowded and noisy environment. When we have low, we would need silence, just silence. So in these times, if you live in a city, for a high determination person, it's not a big deal. They could turn on the TV, or I don't know, turn on the radio, or listening to some music, whatever. It's important for the volume to be high, to be very high. Whether for a low kind of style, uh, get some audio protectors, some plugs, some ear plugs,
yeah,
even some noise cancellation gear. But if you are high and you live alone in the forest, at least eat when the birds are chirping, or make some noise. I don't know. Play an instrument, put a record on, and eat with a high volume. If you have low and you live in a crowded city, put on your earplugs or noise cancellation headset, or go to a very far away place, like far from anything, and just enjoy your meal in complete silence. It's very important. It's very important. I'm very attached to this one because my mom has got low, and also what we are going to see after is the cognition, so the most refined science. He's got feelings, so the ear is she is very sensitive to the ear and to the hearing. And unfortunately, she lost part of hearing from one ear, And after I discovered all of this information, I think I understand why, because she used to be a kindergarten teacher, so she couldn't eat in silence. She
Oh.
couldn't. She couldn't. She damaged her hearing so much. And I feel culprit. I feel responsible as well, because when she went home after working, I was playing my saxophone out loud and she couldn't take it. I
Mm.
didn't know. And now she actually just prefer to eat in a very like even
Mm.
my dad has got low, but he always switch on the TV and listen to whatever. But this is, I think, his shadow, the shadow of, I can't remember, of distraction. But
Oh.
anyways,
So
I
what do you
think this
mean shadow? He
it's
needs to be in a peaceful environment, but then yet he uses a little bit of distraction.
yeah, this is the paradoxes. Paradoxes. It's
Oh.
got low because, again, also my father has got a very sensitive hearing. It's very sensitive. But his gene keys, so it's not related to this. I will
Yeah.
touch it very briefly. So his like work, his main work in this lifetime is to deal with this distraction shadow. But this is the gene key. So because he's got a specific hexagram, I don't remember which one exactly, but the shadow is exactly that. It's distraction. I can check it very briefly. But yeah, again,
Okay.
low, high, also for studying and to interact with people. For a high person, like a discotheque or a pub or a very crowded and noisy place, perfect. You can go study at the pub. Yeah. But for a low, yeah, just go to a bookshop, very quiet place, and study there. So let's move on to the last one, which is the color light, direct and indirect sunlight. Day person, night person. Oh my God, my kid cannot sleep at night. If he's got indirect sunlight, it's supposed to be more active in the night, in the nighttime. What are we going to do? That's okay for him. It's okay for him to study at night. It's okay for him to interact at night. It's okay for him to sleep during the day. It's not a big deal. At the opposite, direct sunlight, eat during the day. If you had to eat something during the night, a light meal would be preferred. At the opposite, indirect sunlight, if you want to eat something during the day, don't eat it, but at least stay out of the direct sunlight. We know that sunlight is very important for the body. I'm not saying not to stay under the sunlight, but for an indirect person, indirect light sun person, that that direct sunlight can affect his digestion pretty badly. So just eat inside, and during the night you can eat whatever. For a direct sunlight, it's better to eat under the sun. Let your bare skin be touched by the sun rays.
Yeah, this is interesting because countries in many places they don't get this light, or they might get light 6 months a year or
Yeah.
a few months in a year.
Yeah.
So it gets very tricky out here.
Absolutely. I've been to Finland. I've been to
Oh
Finland
wow.
once.
Yeah.
And but I've been one time in October or November. I can't remember. And but I went two times in the in the in summer. And boy, it was really hard to understand when to go to sleep because the sun was always up, like no darkness at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least that
Yeah.
if you have 2 or 3 hours of direct sunlight, that's the best hour for you to eat. Eat as much as possible during those light
That time.
hours. But at least we are aware. That's
There's
it.
one thing I want to share here. It's very interesting that there are certain cultures or some religions that I am aware of. They are very particular because in their case it is more of a generic approach because of the culture and the religion, that they would not eat after a certain time hour of the day, and because there is the sunlight is not there, or it's the time it's the rising sun, and there are some certain type of bacteria or some insects that come out with the sun, or some of them will go back, so they have their own way of determining, and it is very generic. And also in what we have is in Ayurveda also talks a little bit about all this, but then all this is very generic in terms of natural body conditions, but human design has interpreted it very specific with the chart that the child is born with. It becomes very individualistic.
Yes. And these information are not here to replace any ancient wisdom
Yeah.
at all. At all. It's just something else on top or at the base, if you like. You could have, I don't know, hot thirst, for example, and eat like Ayurveda style with a hot cup of tea.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Dietary styles. They are the most discussed topics on earth. Eat this way, but they are all generic. You should eat in this way. You should have breakfast in the morning. You should eat protein in the morning. You should not have protein in the morning. They are so generic, as you said,
Yeah.
so generic. It doesn't make any sense because they are so generic. Even saying, oh, the only one rule of eating is variety. Yeah, maybe it can be, but not for an open taste and closed taste. How can you explain it? I certainly cannot explain why. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've got a very good memory and I can pinpoint all of these details and add the all of the niche information that I understood doing my research to a client that is coming to have an appointment with me discussing these topics.
So tell me
But I
one
don't
thing.
know.
So if a person contacts you, reaches out to you, you're able to create a chart for the person, dietary
Yes, of
chart, and
course.
all right. That's very
Yes,
good
I
to
mean,
know. Yeah.
of course, no big deal at all. It's more about remembering all of these details and trying to find the wisdom and the truth in the paradoxes that we have. It's not just about you are this way. You are this way, but you are also this other way. So there are so many paradoxes, and it's quite tricky to spot them all. I think I'm very good at it. I can help a client to pinpoint all of those paradoxes for him to be or her to be aware of those paradoxes, of those polarities.
It could also help a person suffering. I'm just thinking of my head, like people get allergies in their body, and they
Of
cannot really
course,
identify as to why it's
of
happening.
course, of course, of course,
Yeah, that's
of
really
course.
good.
I
That's
mean,
so important.
my opinion is that this information will keep you away from the doctor as much as possible.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So, cognition, they speak about which food we prefer, which ingredient, which dish, why we choose in a certain way. They are our senses. So, 5 senses, no, 6. 6 senses. So, in human design, cognition is your most refined sense, the way your body naturally perceives and reads the world. It is linked to your determination and describes how you pick up subtle information beyond the mind. So, the 6 main cognition: smell, highly sensitive to vibes through scent and atmospheres. You can smell if something or someone is right or wrong for you. Intuitive sense for the known. So what you already smelled, the body will remember it forever. It's a very intuitive sense. So intuitive of the here and now. Prefers food that smells good to it. Simple as that. If it doesn't smell good, you don't eat it. You won't eat it. If it smells good, okay to eat. Taste. Feels and tests life by tasting it. Very sensitive to quality, nuances, and what feels correct or incorrect at first glance. Not only in food, but in people, places, and projects. Intuitive sense for the unknown. Taste of the food is everything. This is obvious. Taste is everything. But for taste, even more. They are so sensitive to how the food tastes, and they will prefer some very niche and very powerful and intense tastes. Very niche taste. They have a keen for very refined and particular kind of foods and tastes. And they're very good at things that they don't know. You cannot taste a person, but you can understand by taste if someone is good or not for you, or a situation or anything.
Oh, wow.
So smell is instant. It's like yes or no. I don't know this, so it's probably a no. I know this, and then if I know, it's yes or no. Simple as that. Taste is I don't know this, but by taste, I think this is good for me. So very intuitive. So in fact, these two senses are connected to the spleen center, the left triangle of the body chart of the human design.
Yeah.
Intuitive of the here and now. Ancestral senses.
So spleen is connected to the lineage or the ancestral part of
Sorry,
the
come again?
are you trying to suggest that spleen is connected or has the knowledge of the ancestors?
No, it's these two senses, they are connected to the spleen, which is the intuitive, it's an awareness center of the intuition. We have 3 awareness centers: the spleen, intuitive awareness; ajna, mental awareness; and solar plexus, emotional awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, inner vision and outer vision, they resides in the ajna because they are connected to the vision, the eye.
Yeah.
Inner vision, strong inner images, imagination and visual impressions, things inside before they happen. Visual atmosphere and aesthetics matter a lot. Chose what to eat by visualizing it internally. So it's the sense, it's the awareness sense of knowing someone or something by closing the eyes and paying attention to the images that the brain will give to them. It's very intuitive. They are very sensitive to words, like just a phrase or a word can have such a terrific effect onto them. Terrific. In a good way, of course, or a bad. I don't know. But again, the internal word that is like translated through the internal vision. So they will prefer food that they desire. They will have a strong desire and they will like have a vision of a perfect burger and they will go for it. That's the way they decide food. Or someone will ask, fancy a beer? Beer, like Homer Simpson. This is the inner vision. Outer vision, very tuned to what it's seen outside, color, shapes, design, body language. Environments and visual tell you immediately if something is correct. Needs quality visual stimuli in the environment. It takes care of on decorating its environment. Food should look good in order to be eaten. If it doesn't look good, it's not for you. If it looks good, it's okay to eat. Trust your vision, trust your awareness of the sight.
Yeah.
And they would need to decorate. They are the best decorators out there. The outer vision. They will decor all the places they stay, all their environments in the best way possible because they need constant visual stimuli. Let's move on. Feeling. Here we arrive to the emotional awareness, so connected to the solar plexus. Deep, subtle sensing of the electromagnetic field in the body. You pick up hidden emotional or energetic undercurrents by simply listening to voices and sounds. These are the kind of people that will just know exactly your mood just by listening to your voice immediately. You cannot hide from them. It's impossible. The body knows long before the mind can explain.
Yeah.
Solar plexus, emotions. As they say, there's no truth in the now. But again, there's no truth in the now. It depends. Depends on your paradox. But for this particular sense, it's a good key phrase because a person with the feeling will understand that something is wrong or either wrong or right, but it will need a little bit more time. But in like emotionally, he will know it as exactly as it appeared to him. But emotionally, need a little bit time to process informations. It likes food that feels good. Feels good.
Yeah, that's
That's
a very important thing.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But they will have a personal attachment to a specific food, like it's their brother or sister. It's all about how they feel about that specific food. The last one, touch. I do have touch. Touch. Again, very emotional. Very emotional. Very emotional. When I was when I was a newborn, I was obsessed with the textures of fabrics and stuff, and also clothes. If they are not comfortable, I cannot wear them. If they have a fabric that is a little bit pinchy, I cannot possibly wear it. Makes me crazy.
Yeah.
It's direct content and contact and texture, physical touch, materials, space layout. How things feel physically gives you clear information about what it is right. So
Yeah.
if I am touched, but from something that you say, these are this is the way I feel. I feel touched by words, by music, by whatever. But I feel it in my skin, not under my skin.
Yeah, no, I can relate to all of this. I know people, my family, how, and clothes also very, very important. Many people are sensitive to all most of these.
Yeah, of
But
course. We have all of them. Okay. But one in particular is most heightened, is most acute.
yeah,
So, by touching food and eating it with bare hands is preferable. Likes food with a good texture. So if it's good, if it's got a good taste, a good smell, and a good feeling. But if the texture is not good, I will not eat it.
yeah, yeah,
See? So these are our most heightened sense. They are also the senses that are most sensitive to conditions, to medical conditions, most of the times. So, for example, it's not like that for everybody, okay? But most of the times, if someone has got smell, they would get easily a cold.
mhm,
If someone has got like inner vision or outer vision, they could have some problem with the sight. If someone has got feeling, again, they might suffer from for with a problem with the ears. With touch, they might suffer with skin condition and such. So cognition is the sense to follow, to choose what to eat, who to interact with, where to go. It's not something you force with the mind. It naturally gets louder and clearer when you follow your strategy and authority and respect your correct determination. Strategy and authority are concepts related to the human design. Okay?
yeah,
So when when you feel more into your body, then strategy and authority they get so much sense. But it's not the time now to discuss about strategy and authority. And besides, there is so much content on the internet about strategy and authority. But to be able to follow your strategy and authority, PHS to me is key.
you put together a beautiful presentation, very detailed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had fun actually doing it.
It's a complete lesson, like you're taking up a course in human design to at least the grounding force to begin a more
Funny
intensive
thing
study.
is that I studied everything by myself.
Yeah.
I haven't studied with nobody. I watched the many videos. I read so much informations, but I did everything by myself.
Yeah, amazing. Me-
I don't know how much time it passed.
we are actually quite over. It's fun.
Again,
Yeah. Wow. So maybe
again,
you have two more slides left. We can complete these two
yes.
slides and yeah.
Right now,
Yeah, we can wrap it up with the two slides.
yeah, like very briefly. I mean,
Very,
if
yeah, so
people
that,
wants to read the information, they can just stop and stuff.
yeah,
So remember, Carmen spoke with you about environment.
yeah,
Environment are very important, and we have these again 6 possibilities of environment: caves, markets, kitchens, mountains, valleys, shores. Cave is a place with one entrance. It's just like an open space with one entrance, one door to enter, one door to exit. They are not really, they don't feel very well in a place with many rooms. They feel good in a cave-like space. And when they are like when they are selective, they need their cave. It's only theirs, and they should never share it with someone else. It's their space with guests of course, but it's their space. Blending is a caveman or cavewoman that it feels good to share different caves. His caves can have many spaces, and many people can live inside of it, like a boat, for example. Markets. Markets is the need to interact. The need to have people around you. It is also the place in which you can build your business, your work. You can work. If it's internal, your house can be your workplace. If it's external, you must go to whatever market available and have your products be sold in many different places. Kitchens. Kitchens is like a place in which we do stuff. Either a kitchen or a studio or a gym, or it's a place for you to go to do stuff. Makes you feel grounded, makes you feel protected. Wet. Wet, it's like a jungle style environment. Humid, like I don't know, like a forest like, jungle like, I don't know, tropical places, humid and with a lot of vegetation. Dry can be like, I don't know, a cottage in the mountains, the fireplace, a kitchen, a very dry and like neat and clean space, but dry. Very important. Mountains needs to be up the 0 degree from the sea level. Sorry, I will use meters, but they are not like they are the kind of people that they want to go to the mountains during vacations. They need to stay up there. Even if they live in a city, they should stay at the highest place possible. They should look for the highest place possible. Also, they should fix their bed to be high.
It's very interesting. The
Yeah,
more I look at it,
yeah.
I am laughing because I find it very interesting. Yeah, I don't know so much.
Active mountains, these are the people that needs to find always a new mountain to hike, and they need to change their point of view. So they will redecorate also their place to have different point of view, but the point of view is key, and it should be from high to above, to below, sorry, from above to below.
Yeah.
And passive, they could just find a place and let all the information come to them. They could find a point of view, sit still and observe all the environments changing, like the lights, people coming, or traffic lights from below, whatever. So one is more active, needs to change mountains all the time. One is more passive, can receive like a ridiculous amount of information just staying put, like a Buddha.
Yeah.
Valleys, narrow and wide. So these are like the volume people again. So feels good in lower connected place streets between buildings, corridors, neighborhood. They need like barriers, some kind of barriers. Okay, if it's narrow, they would need less flow of people and communication, like a narrow valley to interact with always with the same people and to have always most of the times the same sound stimuli. Whether for a wide, they will prefer broader and more expanded interactions, like a very wide valley with borders, but much spreaded apart, and they can interact with many people, and also changing people who interact with, and have different sound stimuli coming from those valleys. It's like that. Shores. I have shores. I don't live by the sea, unfortunately, but shores can be natural or artificial. These are the people that are not good up there. I don't like going to the mountains. It's not my environment. I get sick when I go up in the mountain. I get sick. I remember one time when I was a kid, one of my first experiences, my nose couldn't stop bleeding. It's about pressure. It's about pressure. We need to stay as close as possible to the 0 meters of the sea level. Like Finland, it's perfect because
Yeah.
it's so like it's so, I can't find the name, the word. Doesn't have any mountains whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's just flat. Here it is, flat, and it's close to natural water sources,
Yeah.
whether artificial is needs artificial water sources, like a pool or like a fountain. If you don't live by the sea or by a pool or a fountain, make your house full with water, with an aquarium or small fountains at the entrance of your place. Ground your place with water. Whether for natural, we are the kind of people that they like borders. We like staying between two places, shore and water. Environment is about the quality of the place, not the exact address. When your body is in the right environment, your strategy, authority, and cognition become much easier to trust. We are done.
Yeah. Yeah.
The very last one. In practice, how we can put this information in practice. PHS describes how your body is designed to take in life correctly. Combines three key elements of the design side: determination, your correct way of taking in food and information; your most refined science, which is the cognition, how you naturally read subtle information; and then environment, the kinds of place that supports your nervous system and digestion. Supports, they protect you. When these three are respected, the body can digest better food, emotion, and experiences, calm the nervous system, and make space for clearer strategy and authority. Allow the mind, right side arrows, to relax into its correct role as outer authority, not inner decision maker. So this is about to let your brain be your brain, let your mind be your mind, like the most advanced supercomputer we could ever wish for. It's not there to decide, it's there to be used for whatever we like to do. PHS is not another set of rules, it's a somatic experiment, noticing how you actually feel when you eat in your determination style, live in your correct environment, and trust your cognition. And this boy, it was supposed to be me because I'm eating one ingredient at the time by the sea on a shore with my bare hands. And see, I'm smiling, I'm happy.
Yeah. And I'm glad you pulled through your health situation and came out of it. It was amazing. Your experience was amazing.
Yeah. It is mind blowing to me still to this day. And I'm grateful that I came up to this set of information because they allowed me to relax, to put my stress into check.
Yeah. Can we close
I'm,
the presentation so that the screen can be seen?
yes.
That will be good, right? No.
Should I interrupt the sharing?
Yeah. Do you have any other slide to share?
No,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
we're done. Thank you.
It's very interesting, and I'm sure anybody who is going to watch it will like to watch it again and to get more information and reach out to you again on.
Yes, I always say that I became the teacher that I always wished for without any false thoughts. I really wanted to someone that could explain these things to me for all my life with saxophone, with electronic music. I always tend to become the teacher that I would have had if I could choose for. I'm grateful for all the teacher that I had and that I still have. Okay, I bow to them. I
Yeah,
bow.
yeah,
But for some information, I'm glad if I can help someone. And to have a session with me is to look to all of these very precise set of informations and to try to find all the paradoxes, to find all the possible polarities of your being. For example, you have an active body, but you have calm determination.
mhm.
And then you have, I don't know, outer vision. These information, they set very powerful paradoxes.
Yeah, yeah. I can see. Yeah. So
And I can help them relax into those polarities. And I can find many, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. This
yeah,
is just the tip of the iceberg of the information that we can get out of a body chart. Believe me,
yeah.
we
I
can make
totally
sense of so many things. Sorry.
Yeah, I totally understand and I respect the work because you are helping people to live up to their soul purpose as well, to develop that with whatever abilities they have, whatever pointers they have in their they are born with, and utilize them to their full potential, live well, healthy, and a purposeful life.
Yes.
Otherwise, with the lack of this clarity, one would take many, we lean towards many support systems because there's something deficient somewhere or the other. And it's not very helpful.
I don't like to treat them as deficiency. I like to treat I like to treat aspects and empower them.
Yeah,
I bow to the vehicle my soul is sitting in.
yeah,
I don't wish for any other body to have. I or my soul. My soul, she or he doesn't want, I don't think she wants another body but mine, but ours. And to honor it is my duty as a human being.
absolutely. Absolutely. You just said it. And it's very sacred. Whatever you just said is very, very sacred. And I respect that and I value that. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jacopo. And I will share your information as before. They can connect you at com. And the email also is, I will share the email that you have given to me. And people can reach out to you. And hopefully, we can meet again sometimes on a different topic or a different aspect that you would like to share.
I would be very honored. Thank you so much, Kamaljit. I really appreciate the work that you are doing. I think it's very precious and of very value. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for your kind attention.
Thank you, Jacopo. Have a beautiful good night.